All right, so this is week 7, Tuesday, quarter 3, semester 2 for math 5. Oh, so Quentin, this is what you have, right? 1 and 1/4 times 2 and 1/5. That's the first part, yes? So are you still working on this? We're going to change it from a proper fraction to an improper fraction. So 1 times 4 plus 1 is 5/4 times 2 times 5 plus 1 is 11/5. So then we multiply. Before we do that, do you see any numbers at the same top and bottom that you can maybe cancel out? Yeah, you see the 5 right there? We can cancel that out. Or if you have a number you can reduce, you can also reduce it. I need you to close that one, please. Thank you. So then you have 11/4. So your answer for this one is 11/4, or when you divide it by this, it is 2 3/4, right? Now, if you put this into a decimal, 11, so we'll put a 0 here, 34 times 7 is a 28, which is a 2. Put a 0, 5. So this is equal to 2.75. It's easier to compare a fraction if you put it in a decimal. Do you see that? So next what we're going to do is we're going to look at the part on the side, on the right side. On the right side, you have 5/6 times 2 and 1/5. The 5/6 is already in a fraction. Now, a proper fraction. The other part is a mixed fraction. 2 times 5 plus 1 is 11/5. Do you see anything here that you can cancel? Can I go ahead and cancel the 5? Yes. So then your answer is 11/6. Which one do you think is going to be smaller or bigger? Now take a look at the answer here. They both have 11 on top, but look at the denominator. One's a 4 and one's a 6. Which one's bigger? Yeah, this one is bigger because it's saying if you have 11 pieces of candy and you have to share with 4 people, you'll get more candy than if you have to share with 6 people, right? But just in case you're not sure, 11 divided by 6 is 1, which gives me a 5. Put a decimal, 50. 6 times 8 is 48, which is a 20. 3, 8, 20. So then your answer to this is 1.833 repeating. So if you look at it, I know, but do you see how it should be like this, right? Okay. Do you have the next question? Are you working on the next question? Are you allowed to go back and forth with the quick checks or no? Quentin? You are? Okay. All right. So for your next question, are you still working on the next question or are you done? Okay. Okay, so these questions are fairly difficult because you have to organize them from smallest to biggest, right? All right, so let's take a look at this then. All right, so with this question right here, let's go ahead and start working on the first part, which is the part right there in blue. Do you see anything here that's the same? Do you see how the 4 are exactly the same? So cross it out, Grace Quentin. And then do you see how the 3 and the 9, you can cross it out to 1 to 3? Do you see that? So this part is just 1/3. That's the answer to that, okay? So do you see how there's like little tricks that you can do? Like take a look at the second one. Do you see the second one? Do you see how the 7 and the 7 just crosses out? 4/9, you can't divide anything or reduce it, so it's just 4/9, okay? Now, the third one is a little bit trickier because you will have to go ahead and have Dad quiz you on the test, okay? Get that done. On the third one, you would have to change it from a improper fraction to improper fraction. So 1 times 3 plus 2 gives me a 5/3 times a 4/9. Can you reduce or cancel anything, top and bottom? No. So then 5 times 4 is 20/27. Can you reduce this at all? Unfortunately, you can't reduce anything here. So it is what it is. Okay. Now let's take a look at the last one. For the last one. Yeah. The one in the blue? Okay, do you see how 1 times 3 is 3? 3 plus 2 is a 5. 5/3 times 4/9. You can't cancel anything, so you just multiply across. 5 times 4 is 20. 3 times 9 is 27. You can't reduce it, so it's just 20/27. The fourth one. Okay, for the fourth one, you put a 1 underneath it. Can you reduce or cancel anything here? What can you cancel? No. You can only cancel if it's top and bottom. Do you see how both of these are on top? If you have 4/2, then you can do it, but you can't do a 2/1 times a 4/9. They're both on top. They have to be one on top and one on the bottom. No. It's 2 times 4. If it was like 2/3 times 5/4 like this, look over here. Do you see how the 2 and the 4, one's on top, one's on the bottom? Has to be top and bottom. You cannot have two numbers on top. Do you see that? You can't divide it or reduce it if both of them are in the numerator. So you just simply multiply across like this, which then gives you 8/9. So these are the 4 different fractions you have. Which one do you think is the smallest? Or actually, let's start with the biggest. Which one do you feel is closest to 1? And that's hard to do. You know what I mean? So you will have to divide them. So I would recommend that you divide them, put it into a decimal. I know 1 divided by 3 is 0.33 repeating. So I would suggest you divide it. Okay. 4 divided by 9. So make sure you're dividing this on your own. Okay, good. Or put them in decimal so that way you can check. $27, you can round it to 30. You know that 30 times 7 is 210. So 27 times 7 is going to be a 49. 14, 189, which is pretty close. Gives you 11. So I'm going to put a 7 right there. And then we'll put a 0. 27 times 3 is going to give you 81. Let's see, 27 times 4 is 108. So 4 will be closer. So 108 will give you a 2. So this is going to be equal to 0.74, which at 2 decimal places in that 100th place, you can stop. 8 divided by 10. So let's divide. Put a decimal, 0. 10 times 8 is 80. So we can do maybe 9 times 8 is 72, which gives me an 8. Put in a 0. 8, which is 72, which is it's just going to continue. So this is going to be equal to 0.88. So at this point, I think the biggest one is 0.88. So that's 8/9, followed by 0.74, which is 2 times 4/9, followed by 0.44, which is 7/7 times 4/9, followed by 0.33, which is 3/4 times 4/9. So it should be in this order. All right, so this is a last math check. So let's go ahead and go over this point. So choose all the expressions that are less. Keyword is less, which is smaller than 10 and 2/3, right? So multiply and add, change that to a improper fraction or proper fraction to improper fraction. So we have 30 32 over 3. We want to go ahead and put this into a decimal. So then 3 is going, actually, I can just skip this. Hold on a second. We're going to do 3 times 10, which is 30, which is a 2. Put a decimal on top. 3 times 6 is 18, which is another 20. So this is going to be approximately 10.66. So we need to go ahead and do each one of these to see if they're smaller than 10.66, right? So for A, let's change this. So that's going to be a 32 over 3 times 9 over 10. With this one, you can't, Quinton, I want you to take a look over here on the A. Do you see on this one, what can you cancel in the green, top and bottom? Yeah, what would that be?
Well, the 0 will turn into 1 and the 9 will turn to 3.
Good. What about the other fraction? Would you be able to reduce the 32 and the 10? Yes, they're both even. So what can you do? 32 and 10 are even. So you could divide 2 into both of them, right? 32 divided by 2 is? 10 divided by 2 is? And I think that's as far as you can go. So then when you multiply this, you get 54 over 5. So I would suggest you divide it. So in the green, it should be 10.8. Now we're going to move on to the purple one right here. In the purple, 1 times that number is just going to be that number. So that's going to be a 32 over 3, which was the original question. So that's 10.66. So this is not less. This is actually equal to. This one is actually greater than, so it doesn't qualify because it's bigger. Now let's take a look at C. So I'm going to show you C on the other side. So with C, 10 to the 2/3 is going to be 32 over 3 times 2 times 3 plus 1 is 7 over 3. With this one, unfortunately, you cannot cancel anything. No, first one is 10.8. That's bigger than 10.6. It has to be less than 10.66. So you see the sign that I put right here? That's bigger. That's greater than. So it doesn't work. The second one is equal because it's 10.66. It has to be less than. If it's a less than or equal to, then you can use the second one, which is B, okay? And we're on C right now, so if you multiply this, well, hold on a second. That one is going to be bigger. You're right, because remember, 32, so another way to think about this is, the quick way is 32 over 3. You know that this one is going to be 10.66, right? This number here is 2 point something. So 10 times 2 is going to be bigger. So this one is going to be greater than 10.66, right? So that does not qualify. Do you see that? So then let's go ahead and take a look at the blue one right here, which is D, okay? With this one, it's 1 over 8 times. Okay, so this one might qualify because remember 10 times 3 plus 2 is 32 over 3, right? So then 32 over 24, this is going to give you like a 1 point something. But you know this is going to work because, Quinton, look up here. Look up here. 32 over 3 is equal to 10.66, right? 10.66 times 1 over 8. 1 over 8 is not anywhere close to 1. That's very small, right? So you know this will qualify. This one will definitely qualify. So you should mark that one. So check mark. I'm going to put a happy face next to it. Okay. D will definitely work. Or D definitely would definitely work. D, not C. D. What about E? Now, did you see the little trick now? The pattern of how to check this? Take a look at E. Do you see how 10 and 2/3? This is going to give you 10.66, right? That's equal. If this is on time 3 over 5, 3 over 5 is smaller than 1. So is your answer going to be bigger or smaller? It's timing 3 over 5. So if you have 10.66 times 5 over 5, that will give you 10.66. Smaller. This one's gonna be smaller as well because 3 over 5 is less than 1. Okay? Do you see that though, what I'm saying? Okay. So there's an easy way of doing this. You just look at if you have 10 and 2/3, right? As long as they multiply by a number where a fraction is smaller than 1, it's gonna be smaller than 10 and 2/3. Does that make sense? If you have 10 and 2/3 and multiply like a fraction bigger than 1, like for example, you see how C, this fraction is gonna be bigger than 1 right there in blue? Like for B, you see how it multiplies 1, so it's gonna be exactly the same. It's not gonna be smaller, it's gonna be equal to. And then if you take a look at A, it is 10 and 2/3 multiplied by 9 over 10. Actually, you know what? A should qualify. I think I divided it wrong.
Yeah.
Let me just check. I'm pretty sure. No, I think A does qualify. I think I multiplied it wrong. I think I did do that. 10 times 10. Yeah, actually, you know what I did. So this part right here, Quentin, so for A, this actually is wrong. I messed up somewhere. I don't know where I messed up, but this actually equals 9.6. And the reason I was able to catch my mistake, Quentin, look over here. Do you see how 9 over 10 is smaller than 1 right here? So this times by a number smaller than 1, it's going to be less than. So that's less than. This is less than. So the 2 or the 3 ones that you should check are these 3. So you should have A, D, and E. Those are your answers. You see that? Okay, and that will conclude your assignment.